Hello, guys, and welcome back to A.I.M Learning. I hope you all are doing good. Welcome to the second episode, Mind with Experts, and we have Thom Eves with us. I hope you might have seen the first episode of this series. If you have not, I'll link it about here. And I'm so grateful to have you all here. Today we'll be discussing about some of the very important things and insecurities that generally people do have when they're starting their career or something, but they generally don't talk about it. So we'll be talking about and having a very good session, raw, uncut, real. And so to stay tuned, please see the video till the end, and I like to invite Thom with us now. He is a lead data scientist at UL. He has done his PhD. He has his own blog, Integrated Machine Learning AI, and he just loves to help people and learn from the community. So without any further ado, let's get into the video.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. So, how do you feel when that first episode went live? How do you felt about it, and how do you feel the audience felt about it?
It seemed like there was great reactions. I'm just relieved that if I talk, what I'm saying is helping someone. I'm happy even if it's just one person. So I was pretty pleased. It seemed to get a lot of good feedback. So I was grateful for that.
Okay, so without any further ado, let's start today's episode with the very first and important question, that is, a person who is starting his journey into the field of data science, how important does it to be consistent about reading? How important is to be patient in that field?
Yeah,
So,
this is really important question, I feel, because I've started to go back and edit some of my posts with this statement. The field of data science is growing faster than anyone can learn it. In other words, if you were wanting to learn all of it, you couldn't. And that could be said of a lot of fields. But even if you had a hope of learning all of it, it even the rate of new things coming on the scene is too quick for any one person to keep up with it. And I think that makes the learning plan post and the cycles post even more important because you have to choose very carefully. You have to be patient with yourself while you're learning to make sure you reach mastery. And but I'd say even more importantly, um, keep improving your learning skills. Keep adding to your set of best practices for improved learning so that you have the best learning per time quality or ratio. How much you can learn over how much time. You want that ratio to be high, but don't think that by trying to learn, super fast and not taking any breaks that you're going to go faster. It really just takes a good balanced approach of choosing what's most important for you to learn at the given time, going to learn it, mastering it to a sufficient level so you can apply it in your current need. And I, I think that's everything said. But always, even if you were to go learn all of the best practices for learning well, it's going to take time to master a good set of best practices for learning. So be patient with yourself in all regards in that sense.
you are a very you have like community of data science on LinkedIn. So do you feel that pressure that he's performing better than me? What if he
Um,
outmarkets me in the market? How about that? Do you feel that jealousy factor ever with the community, or it's with the whole heart you do work, and that pressure, oh, he gets popular, I may get unnoticed or something like that, is that happens with you people on?
I can't speak for the others, but I remember that feeling. And as you were asking me, I thought, oh, yeah, I used to feel that way a lot years ago. And I think I just got tired of it. I decided, you know what? I really love what I'm able to do. And there's things I know that I really want to learn. And once I had to be okay with, I'm doing okay, and I enjoy learning still. I started making that my focus rather than am I as good as this guy or that guy, and because it dawned on me over time. Well, in some ways, I'm more skilled than them, and in some ways, they're more skilled than me, and that's why it's a beautiful friendship. So now I focus on trying to get to know people that want to help each other. And that's made it all the better. I want to sympathize though. You can be in workplace environments where you're stepping out to do things better or push the envelope in your business with your data analytics skills, data science skills, and people can react badly to that. And I would say just filter it. Listen to them carefully, think about what they're saying, but filter it carefully and just take the content, not the bad attitudes or the discouraging spirit, and then just keep doing your best because that will leave no regrets. But I'm not saying don't listen to I'm not saying listen to your critics or don't listen to your critics. I'm saying listen to everything coming in, filter it carefully, and then just keep going because sometimes people will react badly to you because they are jealous of what you're doing, or they think, well, who do you think you are to go try to solve that problem? If you've worked it out with your manager and your manager's supporting what you're doing, keep going. And I've had to learn that lesson the hard way, but it's best just to stay engaged, keep trying to do your best work. Nothing's better than that.
So like yeah, so like if Ta comes to you today and say, "Ki, I feel that this person is doing so good. I feel like I'm not doing anything in data science. He has done so much of projects, and he has such a good product and brand on LinkedIn. I feel like I'm doing nothing. If I'm doing something, why am I not getting recognized by the people? How do you think these affect your journey? Does this affect a person who is into data science or any field in any way?"
Well, now there's to me there's a lot of questions there, but I'll go at them the way I kind of heard them and what I think's most important. So, first thing I might say to Ta is, "Hey, Ta, do you like that person?" Well, we could have yes or no, but let's say yes. Yeah, I really admire them. And well, have you thought to ask them if you could work alongside them and help them with some of the aspects of what they're working on because you really want to learn from them and help them with their current project? No, I hadn't thought of that. Don't make it a competition, Ta. You already know something that guy doesn't know, and um, you feel like they know a lot you don't know. Sounds like a good friendship. Sounds like a good team opportunity. Now, let's say you don't like them. And I'll give a story here. This is a very sad story, by the way. 20 years
Okay.
ago, 20 years ago, I worked with this super nice, super smart guy. And in retrospect, I wish that we could have worked together more, but we didn't. But loved the guy, was easy to talk to, very smart. Fast forward 15 years later, now beginning 5 years ago, guy was completely different. Just as smart, but just turned into a jerk, a hypercritical jerk. And I surmised that he had just been injured a lot in industry because there's a lot of hard knocks in industry, but he was still brilliant and his thinking processes were better than ever. So that I could benefit from that relationship, I would still ask him questions and think about not how he was saying things to me or to others or about others, but just the content, because there were true gems of thinking there. And then I realized, okay, I'm benefiting a lot from this relationship, and it's tough to interact. But unfortunately, he's not. And I remember there were times where he's a very smart guy, by the way. And I just thought there were times where he was shocked that I solved a problem he hadn't been able to. I'm like, yeah, I could do things. And I think over time, I just realized, it takes so much emotional energy to worry about, am I competing with someone? I don't want to compete. I just want to grow. I think just focusing on growth and not worrying about where you are relative to others is the best thing. Looking for ways, there's so many needs in any given business that you can work on, that guy that you're envious of, or gal, when I say, a ta,
Yeah.
um, that they can't do it all. So if you dive in and work on a problem they're not, or ask if you really like them, can I help you? There's always these great options. Um, let's see. I think that answered most of your question. Is there another angle you want to cover to it?
No, I just asked this because when I started as a student into data science, I used to see, oh, students from different colleges studying abroad are doing so good, and I feel like I don't do anything, and that impacted in negative way at some point. But as soon as I started to do what I like, I got like people like you got to see my things, and I now see people want to do work. So it feels like if I took inspiration and do my hard work, then you like everybody is good in its own field, like not to feel jealous of anybody.
Yeah, and there's another point to what you were saying that's embedded in that question. Don't be afraid to just be you. Now, I know that sounds trite, but what I mean is there was a certain point where I had to look back and realize you need to make sure you're at a turning point in your career. So go on ahead and start being who you want to become. Just do like, for example, I love to go and give good feedback on the great posts on LinkedIn. And I just spend some time, giving thoughtful comments and saying why I appreciated that post. If there's a post I don't particularly like, I might leave a different type of reaction or none at all, or but there's sometimes posts I really love and I don't even leave a comment because I think the current comment stream is good. But I just decided I'm not going to try to be someone I'm not. I'm going to try to stick to my values and the policies I've learned to operate by, and leave thoughtful comments that are me. Um, I could become really jealous very quickly of Giuseppe Bonasacco. Boom! I love him. Philosophical, um, understands so many
Yeah,
algorithms, and
yeah.
but just because I reviewed his book and wrote a good review, and I interacted with him about some of the typos and errors I found, we became really good friends. Ended up being on some shows together, but over time I realized I don't need to be Giuseppe. The world has Giuseppe. I need to be Thom Ives to the world. You know what? I'm starting to get feedback that I have a lot to offer. I think I'll just keep being Thom Ives and keep going where Thom Ives is going, because you know what? I like the things I think about. For example, since childhood, I've been able to imagine things in 3D and build things in my mind. I never realized that was a special skill until about 5 years ago. But I spend hours designing things in my mind, thinking through algorithms and coding, thinking how to build things with my mechanical engineering skills. I love doing that. But that's probably not how Giuseppe spends his time. So when he does a philosophical post that I think is so important for us to think about, I praise him for it and I interact with it. And I stop thinking on my paths and think on his for a minute. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, we feel best when we know we're part of a team, we're part of a business, and we made a difference. Everybody can make a difference. Just jump in and find a need and try to solve it. Nothing's better than that. Hope that
Okay.
helped.
Yeah, so the next question that is, how does Star choose a mentor wisely to guide and help him during the journey? And how can he decide his journey from being a mentee to a mentor? I asked this question because generally, like, people make it a big thing, like, okay, if you want to get mentored, put add me and I'll add you to my Telegram group, I'll help you in uh, how does in this so much of happening he choose someone who he can trust as a beginner, and he might help him during this data science journey.
There was this super wise man that lived about 3,000 years ago. And one of his quotes, one of his proverbs was, there's victory. I'm paraphrasing. There's victory with an abundance of counselors. Sometimes people will ask me life advice over LinkedIn. I'll say, you don't want me making your life decisions for you. And then I teach them how to think through the questions they have so that now in the future, they know how to carefully answer for themselves a big, important question. But I would also caution anyone that's seeking my mentorship anywhere. Hey, make sure I'm not your only mentor. Get input from others. Learn these careful decision processes. I'm going to teach you how to do it initially, but you can still improve upon it over time. As you integrate more knowledge, you can come up with a better solution for that. And finally, I think becoming a mentor should start as soon as possible. I hear of people that are younger than me helping grade school kids, or just offering to help a friend that's younger than you. Or let's say you love Python like I do, and you see someone having an inclination to logical processes and automating things. Can I help you learn to code? I think the biggest thing, though, that happened to me was at this certain corporate environment, and I noticed a lot of the summer interns coming to me for help. I don't think my Python knowledge was necessarily a lot better than anyone else's among the older guys that I sat with. I think I just was nicer and cared. So if you really want to be a mentor, I've noticed people really are magnetized to kindness and encouragement. The reason I tell people be gentle and patient with yourself is because I had to learn that the hard way. I would beat myself up. You're such an idiot, Thom. Why can't you learn this faster? Well, because it's hard. I mean, even the person that came up with it, it took them a lot longer to come up with it than it's taking me to learn it and master it. So be patient with yourself. And there is that feeling once you've mastered a concept, you're looking back. Why did that take me so long? This looks so simple. Well, here's how to become a great mentor. What caused you to switch from this is hard to I get it now? And why was that so hard? Take a little extra time to figure out how to explain it in the way that triggered your insights and help the world with that. That's all I'm trying to do, is use hindsight to help others move forward as I pay it forward. And seems to be working, but you can't write the perfect post or the perfect tutorial, but you can try.
So, like, how does he approach someone to help him and guide him, as he's a beginner and he doesn't know who will be the best to interact? Like, some might use him and misguide him. So, as a beginner, how would he choose for himself to understand and analyze? Okay, his advices are very good for me, but the advice he gave is like, or she gave is not good and it's not happening. So, how would you say?
This is a hard one. And I do think the advice I'm about to give is solid. You have to receive some mentorship. You have to test the mentorship you're receiving and see if it's working. For example, I love control system design. The whole idea of watching the states that your system is in, measuring it, comparing that to the state you want to be in, providing correction. That's how we use a mentor too. But if the feedback is not improving, helping you to reach a better state, try to get mentorship from other mentors too. You don't have to get all your mentorship from one person. Um, and then, so just like with control system design, we design those systems to deal with noise that looks like feedback, but it's not. And we find ways to reject that noise. So you don't think that don't immediately think that the advice you're getting is wrong, but test it with other mentors too. Well, if I went and got advice from this other mentor, what would they say? Now, it could be that the people you're asking don't want a mentor. There's some people that just don't care to help other people. I think that's a crying shame because I feel like I grow more when I help people in my knowledge and abilities than when I just keep it all to myself. But it's basically going shopping. You look for people that like to mentor, and some people, and I used to be one of these, I confess, they want to mentor other people, but they really don't have the advice you most need yet. And that's okay. Still listen to them. It doesn't mean that, you might go to them 10 times and only two or three of the pieces of advice they gave were good. But by testing what you're hearing with other counselors, other mentors, that's why I quoted that wise guy from 3,000 years ago. In an abundance of counselors, there's victory. And in that case, they were talking about one of the most difficult things mankind ever faces, that is going into battle, into war. Now, of course, we don't want to be fighting each other as data scientists. I don't mean it that way, but there is a battle with ourselves to
Yeah.
overcome our weaknesses and deal with the challenges. I mean, even if you are in a perfect environment and a perfect culture and everyone's encouraging, that doesn't mean that the difficulty of applying data science and learning new aspects of it on the job are going to go away. It's still going to be hard. So, it just creates other dimensions of difficulty when the culture is challenging, when you don't have nice mentors, but it doesn't mean you can't still get some value from asking advice from many people. And hopefully you find that nice person that's kind and encouraging and honest. I can be nice to people, but if I'm not direct and honest with them, how helpful was I? So sometimes the feedback hurts, but it doesn't mean the person didn't care about
No, but it's like if he's new to the community, how he'll approach people because generally many good and the lead data scientists or someone are like tend to not see their DMs and tend to not check things. So if he tries to approach people and he doesn't have a good profile, why would they connect with him on LinkedIn? How does he get the guidance?
you.
What do you think? I had faced this issue a lot, but then I started to connect, and when I got connected, I used to write, "Thank you. I saw this your work. I like this thing, and I wanted to connect and learn more with you." And that held for me. But how about the different people? Like, not everyone has this approach or something.
So there's a guy named Eric Weber that I really appreciate him. We don't interact much on LinkedIn, but I love him. I think he's great. The thing I appreciate, I don't always agree with what he says, but I always appreciate what he says. And I can tell he really cares about what data scientists are feeling that don't yet have a job, or they lost their job due to COVID or some other reason, and they're trying to get that next job, or they're in a place they feel like they can't grow well there. I would contend you can always grow, you can always contribute, but um, they're just depressed and they need a new environment maybe. And Eric's always trying to encourage them, always trying to give, good advice. Well, what I like is Eric doesn't practice typical social media practices. One day he said, I want you to know, here's my job search box, his in email folder with just hundreds of rejections for job applications. And then the few that would reply, most of those, well, I'm sorry, it was full of applications that he saved. Then the ones that he got feedback from were mostly rejections. And then just out of hundreds, just maybe 3 interviews. And then even then you can bomb a technical interview. Anyone can, because you get nervous, you forget something basic, whatever. So it, I'm sorry, the reason I went all the way through all of that is to say this. Sometimes finding a good mentor can be as hard as finding a good job. And thanks to your advice and our team, now we're writing posts that, or I am, but y'all are helping me to say, okay, what thing can we say that will help the most people? So that's why we started with the learning plan. Then I went to the cycles, and now I'm working on a new one that I'm just from trying to think what I'm hearing from people, what advice can I give them? And I'd say a lot of what I'm saying now is coming from those thoughts and will come out in a new post soon. And I have this super helpful editor. I can't say her name, but her initials are Manpreet Budhaja. So, and I think Danny will give me some feedback again too, I hope. Danny Ma, my son.
Uh, I think it was very two questions, but there were a quiet insight to what generally people want to talk, but they don't talk out of fear. Like
Don't be a,
these are some these
yeah.
are some insecurities of people, but they generally tend to ignore it, or maybe they generally don't want to talk about it.
When I,
And to the point that you said that when you share, you feel like you learn a lot. During my college, what I felt was people generally tend to keep it to themselves. Okay, they were like, if I share, he'll grow more. So that jealousy factor I was talking to you,
yeah, not
and
not a good
and
philosophy.
yeah, and if you are doing good, like college is open to everyone, okay, you can do whatever you want, but if you do something, they always try to bring you down to everything, okay, and they do everything so that you come down, and by bringing you down they would be shown so up because you get hurt, you wouldn't do it. So these are all my insecurities. I think I had asked you in this question, and but I think it would help many more people who have the same, but they don't tend to ask.
So I'm going to come back to this latest question, but also address that. I don't think it's wrong to have a little bit of selfishness, knowing that when you really try to help someone else master something, you're going to master it even better. That it's okay if that's your motivation, but you'd be pretty dull as an individual to not feel excited when you see the light come on in their mind. Oh, I get it now, and you help them get there. That's I don't know, but that's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
I remember when I would teach control system design at the university level, and it's a hard subject, by the way. And it when I would get them to the middle of the semester and they were seeing some really cool things and they realized they knew how to go about it, you could just see them sit back and go, "Oh, wow!" And I loved it. That one moment was worth all the effort of teaching the whole semester to know that I helped that all of those students get to that oh wow point. And so, but sometimes people do it to show off. Some people don't mentor or help others because they're afraid of giving that person an advantage. Oh, I just can't encourage you enough. Get rid of all that stuff. Throw it out. Just learn to grow and understand by helping others grow. Now you have a teammate, a learning teammate. That's you can create your own culture of a learning team in any setting. Now, you may have to find the people that want to be that way with you, but work hard to find them. It's worth it. And then oh shoot. there was another point you made, and I wanted to address it. And now I'm forgetting what you asked. I'm sorry.
Insecurities that people
Oh,
don't ask.
oh, about approaching people for mentorship.
No, no,
So,
no.
oh,
Yeah, like you have insecurities about certain things, but you don't express it and ask people about it. You just feel like you'll
oh,
be
yeah.
judged and people will look down up to you. But I think it's better to talk.
I know that feeling well. Um, and over the years, I've just gotten stronger in what I'm about to say. I can't say that I never have a fear of asking a question for the way it'll make me look. But there's a Chinese proverb that I love. He who is afraid to ask is afraid to learn. And you have to ask yourself in each situation, do I do I care more about growing this and my skills, or do I care more about what people think about me? Because a lot of times what people think about you is just unfair anyway. There was a guy in undergrad in my classes that asked the seemingly dumbest questions. But over time, and I usually ask a lot of questions too, but over time, I started to really appreciate the questions he was asking because he would ask things that seemed really dumb, but the professor thought they were really smart. And I realized I'm misjudging this guy. I mean, I'm confessing that was wrong of me to feel that way toward him. And over time, I learned if I work with this guy and study with him, I think I'm going to do better. So I did, and I did. And I wish I'd have stayed in contact, but he was just really, you could tell he was deeply concerned about learning and really understanding things. And that's what I learned to love about him.
So thank you so much for having this second episode, and I think it was a lot of talk about a lot of stuff that is also important when you're building your career, and I hope our audience will like it, and looking forward to more such good sessions and tips from you and more people joining us soon on this. And
Is
yeah,
there time to
you
say
have to.
one quick thing?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
okay, so you're building your LinkedIn network and you get upset that more people aren't accepting your connection requests, et cetera, et cetera. That's not unique to you. I know people that write great posts and they don't get a lot of likes. Um, all I can say is, by the way, I have a lot of connection requests. I could go look. It's probably really long that haven't been answered yet. I don't think it's. There's one that's in a group of data people, and I had to ask another friend, would you go ask her to accept my connection request so that I can directly message that person? And he said, yeah, I'll go do that. And then that person replied to me saying, oh, I'm so sorry. I just never, answer my connection requests. Well, it's just because that person's super busy. It's not because they don't care about you or what. Everyone's busy. Everyone's got pressures. For me, I really care about accepting every connection request. If I'm not anywhere near the limit for LinkedIn yet, and I actively go and review other posts, but just keep being the person you want to be, showing that presence on LinkedIn, keep connecting to the kind of people you want to connect to. You'll grow. Write posts that you really want to write and that you really want to give to other people. Don't worry about writing a post just to get likes. Write a good post.
Okay, so I think we'll end this session today, and thank you so much everyone for joining us. And please check out the blogs by Integrated MLA in the description below. Until we meet next time, bye bye. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.